Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Legacy K. I've got some old footage here. We got Inhyeok on the left, reigning final boss at Rolling Dice. He's always terrorizing everybody. And Hyun over on the right is playing a very underrepresented archetype in our meta. He plays Delver, and almost no one does. So I'd be glad to see a couple of turn 1 Delvers here. He unfortunately has lost the first test, which is he lost the die roll. So now no matter what happens, he can't daze anything, which becomes a little upsetting. I believe that this is a 4-color Delver list with some sort of odd card choices. I'm somewhat of a 4-color Delver player also, but some of the cards that I saw in his list are like, oh, they're a little wonky. He's playing Trops and Volcanics, but they seem to be a very light splash. And he's also taking advantage of Gurmag Angler. And fetching the Volcanic first is something that the versions of Delver that I've played in the past would absolutely never do. The 4-color lists are typically a blue-black list that splashes red and green really lightly. And yeah, I really don't know about using your fetch land before your probe. If you were going to probe anyway, I don't see why we want to limit ourselves on our land choice that early. He's going to probe and see Tabernacle. He's not going to like to see that. And another thing, I mean, he probed and he could have seen that Wasteland before he committed to getting probably one of his only 2 Volcanics. Like, I don't think I've ever played a 4-color list that had more than 2 Volcanics in it. Can I pick up my hand? Yeah, okay. So Decay, Dark Confidant, Abrupt Decay, or yeah, I said that, Wasteland, and a Tabernacle. Oh, the second Abrupt Decay I meant to say was Knight of the Reliquary. And that's cool though. That's a really nice game 1, turn 1. Like I said though, that is quite an obscure card choice. He's going to throw out the Tabernacle, he doesn't need it yet. And make an easy turn 2 Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library wastes you first to keep you off days. And Hyun appears to have drawn Gurmag Angler for the turn. He's well on his way towards Gurmag. No matter what he does this turn, he can't actually cast it, but it's almost guaranteed next turn, provided he doesn't, play like no fetch. If he just plays Underground Sea and gets wasted again, then he can't do much. Unless he has the fetch next turn. I haven't seen his hand, though. Polluted Delta for, I have to assume, Underground Sea. And Inhyeok decided to go for the Sylvan Library instead of the Dark Confidant. I guess wants to set up his looks at the top 3 before he commits to Bob on the board. He already lost a Deathrite Shaman to a Sudden Shock, so... Oh, my apologies. He did not have a Knight of the Reliquary. Oh, and right, of course, if he has another probe, then he can make Gurmag this turn. So that's quite nice. Nothing that Inhyeok has right now can deal with that. He finds Knight and Green Sun on top of the library, pays 4 life so that he can get a land and deploy the Knight this turn. Interesting shortcutting there. Why didn't you just grab your land first? But this Knight is quite dazeable. Yeah. It looks like he expected it also. But facing down that Gurmag Angler, he might have felt really pressured to get that done. With the fetch, though, I feel like he could have made Dark Confidant and still shuffled to find a next land. This situation's looking really, really dire for him, though. In the face of a Delver... Oh, never mind. Well, I mean, he can kill the Delver. The Gurmag is hard for this deck to deal with, though. Looks like he might have to take it for one more turn. Or this is a straight-up chump. He decides to chump with Dark Confidant. Or... Yeah, he's going to scoop it up. So, I don't like that because I feel like he really needed Abrupt Decay mana there. The Delver was something that you could deal with and then maybe just take one hit from Gurmag Angler and figure it out next turn. If the Delver flipped, say, Lightning Bolt, then it was definitely going to be 3 in the air and you took down your Abrupt Decay mana. And a lot of things off the top would kind of kill you there. Now for the second turn, or second game in a row, Inhyeok is going to take the play. And this guy, he rarely has to mulligan, okay? This guy has amazing turn 1 Chalice odds. And if it's not a turn 1 Chalice, maybe it's turn 1 Bob instead. He's going to flip of Chalice.
솔레미트를 해가지고 운영을 제대로 할 수 있는 그런 상황이 아니에요. 그러니까 뭐냐면 뭐라고 설명해야 솔레미트를 하는 건 좋은데 이게 솔레미트가 찾아올 수단이 없고요. 일단 첫 번째로. 두 번째로는 그 수단이 없어요. 뭐냐면
Alright, so Inhyeok and Hyun have both mulliganed and both topped. And because he's down a card, maybe he doesn't have really one of those explosive 2-mana first turns. He elected to leave Abrupt Decay on top, which is quite nice. That's going to take care of whether Hyun makes a Deathrite or a Delver. I think he's safe here to just grab Forest. He doesn't want to worry about Wasteland in these games. Not that Wasteland really bothers him, but he wants his first couple of lands to be basics so that later, when he's got Loam set up, Wasteland really doesn't matter. He doesn't want to get messed up on the first couple of turns, getting greedy and losing Savannah or whatever. So now he has a Mox. He's got a couple of utility lands to pitch. And he can make 4 mana this turn. I think Hyun is commenting on this ridiculous basic land count. He's going to throw away either Volrath's Stronghold or Cabal Pit. And yeah, alright. So this allows him to play Knight with Daze Protection. He hasn't seen a Daze yet, and his opponent is on the draw, so it's possible some number have come out. Maybe not all of them. If Hyun doesn't have a play this turn, I don't know. I think I would have blind named... I would have tried to blind name something. It appears that he has no action, but it'd be nice to know. And you can just pretty easily name Abrupt Decay, something that he could have in hand that he wouldn't have cast yet. He needs an answer for this Knight, because it's going to turn into a Merit Lage extremely quick. So we got to search for Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay. I think, honestly, that's about it. Looks like he's found at least one land. He's flooded in this game, but he can get rid of 2 of them with a shuffle. Yeah, the Cabal Pit is as bad for you as you think it is. Cabal Pit is as bad as you think. Okay, wrap it up, man. That was the slowest brainstorm I've ever seen. You take every Abrupt Decay out of the deck. Write down Tabernacle. Let's just hand over the deck. Alright. So what are the odds that it's 2 more, or is it just 1 more? I kind of don't think he's running 4. Man, almost every card that's in this deck is bad for you. He just read Ravanop Excavator. 4 Abrupt Decays, and they are half and half mismatched. Gross. Some pretty normal stuff in there. Hyun, can he? No, he can't cast a Gurmag yet, and he apparently didn't find an answer to Knight of the Reliquary, so I think he's going to die to a Merit Lage. Delver, like, traditionally Delver just has very few answers to this card. I hope for his sake that he brought in Diabolic Edict, but at this point, he would need it now to deal with the Knight already. And he will not have it later. I think that he's, like, on the Delver plan. He does not have snaps. By the way, I dropped this deck, taking out 4 copies of Delver, 4 copies of Daze, replacing those with things like Snapcaster Mage and Kolaghan's Command, and I just never looked back. Having a turn 1 Delver and always flipping it was a pretty nice feeling, but just didn't. The card feels a little anemic when it's bad, and our meta is pretty hateful towards it. We're very, very adept at killing little creatures. They rarely survive. And there aren't enough combo decks around for Delver to really, like, tempo out of the game. Okay, so with an additional land drop, he does manage to make enough for a Gurmag. And this Knight is going to mess you up. He's now completely active. He can make a Merit Lage at any point. And since I believe he will win the fight, he's not going to attack, and he's probably not going to do anything. Sure, why not? It's not that great, but why not? I guess he wants to get Dark Depths main phase now. While the Delver player is tapped out, that makes sense. And he has protection from Edict, like I said, because the Knight is still around. We know that our opponent's last Brainstorm must have sucked. He did it main phase looking for an answer to the Knight of the Reliquary, and you untapped and the Knight is still here. And now there's a Merit Lage. So he's playing around Wasteland and Stifle, but he's not playing around a couple of other things. I mean, looking through Hyunjin's deck, I did see like I saw Liliana of the Veil. So, I mean, it'd be really hard for him, but there's a possibility here that he could, I don't know, have a Fatal Push plus Liliana. Abrupt Decay plus Liliana. I guess the Fatal Push required a fetch also, and he was just kind of low on cards. He just didn't have anything. The players have shuffled up and gone to game 3, and we really need to see a turn 1 Delver out of this guy. He's been keeping kind of slow hands without a real proactive plan, and that's going to kill you against this like slow fair deck with the inevitability of Dark Depths. Also, the Surgical Extraction was super questionable. Like, you had nothing in hand that Abrupt Decay could kill. It turns out Inhyeok didn't even need life from the Loam that game, but seriously, I don't like it when people just cast random value surgicals that hit basically nothing. Turn 1 Deathrite is, well, it's fantastic. It's better than Delver. In lots of 3-color Delver lists, turn 1 Delver is exactly where you want to be, but in a 4-color Delver list, I'm pretty convinced you just want to be like 1 turn slower, and then get a steadier mana base and set up to ramp into your hard-hitting 3-drops. Although I have not seen a Leovold from Hyun. Which is kind of what drew me to the archetype. Leovold also not very good in our meta. There's not enough people casting Brainstorm for it to matter.
저 카트 주신 거죠?
Wow, alright. The main phase fetch do nothing. Not that big of a deal because Hyunjin led on his own fetch, so there was already food for Deathrite, but I don't think we have to play around Stifle here. You've seen absolutely none. It's true, I mean, you want to play around it whenever you can, but I think in this situation, unless you're ridiculously land heavy and it really doesn't matter and you want to fill up your graveyard. Oh, actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm not a Loam player. Maybe what I just said was super stupid because we want to fetch on every single turn and we want to just cast life from the Loam a lot. There's already an active Deathrite. Why is it tapped? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I have to say that attacking with Deathrite for 1 damage on the second turn is a huge mistake. You're playing against a fair Loam deck from your opponent's side, and you leave that Deathrite untapped. You're going to feel really silly when they get an extra land fetch into hand every turn for the rest of the game because you didn't do your due diligence, exiling things at every opportunity. 1 damage is nowhere near as good as Exile Verdant Catacombs end of turn. Seriously. Now Inhyeok has his own Deathrite, and he's probably going to go after your lands, and you don't have a good threat. Oh, this is... I'm upset. And he's going to waste your Underground Sea. He's going to waste your Underground Sea, man. Cast Chalice on 1 with Daze Protection. Waste your Sea. Please do not untap without using your Deathrite Shaman again. Okay. I don't know what to tell you guys.
이제 더 이상 찾아올 베이징 랜드가 없어.
This Knight of the Reliquary is dazeable. Oof. And you know what? I didn't comment on this earlier, and I don't know why, because it's so strange to me now, but what is this basic island doing in Hyunjun's list? I gotta say, I don't like it. When you're playing 4-color Delver, I just play 7 to 8 duels, 4 wastes, and the rest are fetches. Just go after it, man. Just go hard. There's the aforementioned Life from the Loam, which I feel like doesn't matter anymore. He's going to win without it. I fully expect this game to be a beating. I'm gonna cycle Baron Moore, draw Dryad Arbor. We've got Life from the Loam in hand, and our opponent has a basic and 2 wastes that he knows are hopeless.
어차피 나올 거.
Life from the Loam. Any responses? Well, now I guess we try to exile one that it... And... this is a bad situation. When you land the turn 1 Deathrite, and he doesn't kill it, then that Deathrite should be on exile duty for every turn for the rest of the game. He opts to just give his opponent 3 lands because his opponent has a Deathrite.
들어갈게요. 그러면 5점.
Alright, so Knight finally crashes in for 5. This has been a long turn. Hyunjun is drawing extremely narrowly. Our Delver hero is racking his brain for a way out of the situation. I don't think he has much of an answer to Knight of the Reliquary. He's now going to go into single-use duels. Fetch up an Underground Sea knowing that it's going to die next turn.
들어갈게요. 의미가 없잖아.
I think this is just taking Inhyeok a while because he has so many ways to win. He's so far ahead in every way that he's finding it hard to decide which way he wants to win. Sure, it's annoying to deal with 3 wastelands, but you've got a life from the Loam engine going. Oh wait, no. My apologies. My apologies. He left his life from the Loam unprotected. So it got ed up. You know, and I was going to comment on that. Knight of the Reliquary slammed in last turn, indicating that Inhyeok was just kind of over the idea of making Merit Lage this turn. He doesn't think that he's going to need much more than a really big beat stick in the form of Knight. And then when he untapped again, it became clear that he just no longer cared about fighting through these wastelands. Or the Deathrite, for that matter. I was wrong in thinking that Merit Lage should be plan A, because we never found Abrupt Decay for the Deathrite Shaman. If there was no DRS on board, then maybe he would just opt for grind you out with Loam instead.
얘가 지금 7발 7이에요.
Is damage okay? Wait, where is the lightning bolt going? Okay. No more. No more, I say. I can't watch this anymore. Yeah. You're gonna grab Ravenap Excavator so that he can play lands out of the graveyard. And he will take a draw step. Alright, good job, Inhyeok. Alright. Thanks, man. Good game.